Hi guys, Logan here with another video. Today, I got something cool to show you. This is the new, for 2022, animated Teary the Clown by Seasonal Visions International. This is a Home Depot exclusive item that was pretty popular this season, and in fact, was on back order, since he went live. It was one of those kind of weird ones. This one is a little different, as for one, it's the only clown in the Home Depot lineup this year, as they're not doing the Dreadful Dreams collection, but they still want to do a clown, so instead they tied him into the Grave and Bones. You can actually see it right there. So what they did is they actually did this very kind of creepy, dark, undead skeletal clown. And I like that, because we don't really get a lot of actual, undead clown characters. He has a fairly dark color palette with some bright colors splashed in there, with the shoes, some of the flowers, and even his makeup. It's a pretty unique animatronic, as we don't typically see clowns with a darker color tone and kind of a darker vibe. Typically, we see them being brighter or completely monochrome. So this is kind of the one that's in between, where he has color, but it's very dull and kind of muted. He's got kind of this very dark flannel trench coat with this dark crimson undershirt. It's very gross and stained. And then this pinstripe pants with a patch. He has kind of the appearance of a classic hobo clown, kind of like Emmett Kelly Jr., for those of you who know who that is. He also has this very wide brim hat with a flower. And he actually has a bouquet of what he says are flowers from a grave, which is really interesting. So this guy stands at 7 feet, and he is, they weren't joking, he is very big. He's a very big animatronic. I mean, you can kind of see him compared to the shelving behind him. The shelving is very large, and the top of his hat goes all the way up to the shelving. So he's definitely not a small animatronic. He's not average. His hands are huge. Look at that. Look at the hand. That's big. And his head's pretty normal. So the hands are kind of just weirdly large. I think they took him from a 12-foot skeleton, because they are very big. Well, they're not that big. I think they sourced them from another animatronic and gave it to him. Not that I really mind, because I think they look cool. It might be from the big head skeleton. At least that one with the bouquet. So, some cool things about him. For one, they gave him custom clown shoes. They have these distressed clown shoes. They have holes in them. They actually have this very dirty, black staining on them. They look really cool. He also has this really neat build. I don't know if I might be able to show it, where he has two mechanisms. I can't really show, but he has two mechanisms. One to lift the body and one to move the head. And those mechanisms come separate. So typically for the upper body, it's all one piece. So the torso is usually one piece for Seasonal Visions. This time around, they made it two different pieces. So he's got the lower body mechanism that connects up to the upper body mechanism. And the lower body has the module. And the module, I don't know if I can actually show that, is right down here. So this is where the module's at, which is also very unusual. Typically for Seasonal Visions prop, the module would be about here, near where the sensor's at. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Seasonal Visions, the module is usually closer to the middle of the torso of the animatronic. Sometimes off to the left or the right, not really perfectly in the middle. especially for like modern ones. I don't know really how the older ones are built because the old ones have different modules. So this one is kind of down in the lower, like kind of where the legs are at, which is very atypical for seasonal visions. I thought that was really neat. And the fact that the upper body's in two halves, and I can actually show you that because I have the instructions where, let me see here. So part G and I is the upper body. So I has the arms and the head. G is the lower body and the module. So that kind of does connect together to make the whole upper body, which is very atypical. Another interesting thing about him is he has this huge turtle shell. That's the only way I can describe it, that makes up his hunchback. You can see he's got this humongous hunchback, and it's like a turtle shell. It's really big. It's kind of a pain in the butt to put on, but it was just very interesting to see that. He has a very interesting stance where he's leaning. If I come to the side, you can see that. See how his legs are like that? That's how he's built. The issue with that, though, you can kind of see how he rocks a lot, is it actually makes the whole base lean with it, so he's not very stable. The way to combat that is to get some sandbags, sand him down, get some bricks, weigh him down, or stake him into the ground. For me, I stake my animatronics into the ground, and I weigh them if they're on solid ground, so that's not really an issue for me, but heads up there, the lower half of them is actually lifting off of the floor. I noticed that when I put them together, so that's something really important to note. Now, mine's a defect. I want to get that out of the way. The power supply for the lower body mechanism is stripped, so it does not connect correctly, which kind of sucks. So I contacted Seasonal Visions, and the wonderful lady I spoke to is going to be sending me a new, whole mechanism, because I don't really think you can just ship out a new power supply. It might have to be a whole new module. I'm not sure yet. The audio is really cool. I like the audio. The background music is really neat too, and I like his phrases. He has quite a few. So he's kind of a chatty fellow. The face looks really neat. Unfortunately, they do have some deformity issues, as they like to fold in on the sides. As you can see, it makes them look really weird. So I'm gonna have to fill them in, and even the nose. He's got a piece of plastic, and the plastic is actually what deforms him in the nose region. So I'll have to fix that to kind of even it out, like the picture right there, because he's a skeleton. And since he has a latex face, it makes it look a little weird. Animation's pretty interesting. His upper body moves up and down, and his head moves side to side. I don't recall any animatronics from Seasonal Visions having the upper body movement where they go up and down like that. They could have done some. I don't know. They've done so many animatronics. I cannot keep track of everything they have done. Like, I don't know. The makeup's pretty simple. He has this very high smiling point right here, which is really interesting. It goes all up almost to his brow. And he's got the red kind of Harlequin triangles on his face, and kind of the standard red nose. He's got kind of jagged teeth. Audio quality in him is pretty alright. It's standard. It's not like super high quality, but it's not super low quality. It's just perfect, which is, I could deal with that. I'm glad it's not just really weird and like tin canny like the dressed up skeleton was. One of the complaints I also do have, it's more of in the cosmetic department, is actually with the hair. So he has these two strands of gray hair on the front, and if you look at the prototype here, you see he's kind of scattered about the hair. I wish they gave him more gray hair to add kind of, I don't know, more of a dynamic to him, so it looks like he has more an aged appearance. And that's a very minor issue, but that's just something that I wish. And kind of a cool little tidbit here. I know I'm rambling a bit. The prototype which you can see on the online assembly is a lot more different from this one and on the box. I guess like the first one is kind of a normal clown. It's very colorful. The colors pop. He has red hair, very colorful and bright clothing. It was really weird, and I'm very happy they went with this. And the hair was shorter. The hair was more dense and red, so I'm glad they went with this very long. It's a synthetic wig. It's not a clown wig. Black and gray hair. The face is the same. Just the clothing and everything else was a little different. So anyway, let's plug him in. I don't know if he'll move up and down because it's hard for him to get a connection with the power supply. Let's see.
Roses are red, violets are blue. You better hide or I'm gonna catch you. You know what I love about rotting flowers you find on a grave? They're free! They sure are pretty. Once a clown crawled out of a grave to get all the attention he desperately craved. He picked all the flowers that soon after devoured and chased after all that misbehaved. Start running! Ring around the rosies. Wanna chase each other around this hole in the ground? You gotta watch your step. We all fall down. She loves me not. I love me, you're gonna rot. Roses are red, violets are blue. You better hide or I'm gonna catch you.
So yeah, that is Teary the Clown, also known as Feargus, for those of you who like the older name better. That was like a really deep breath. This is an animatronic that I really love. He is super duper cool. And he has like a lot of little things that you can just tell that Seasonal Visions is really trying to improve themselves on the newer kind of mechanism build. He's a lot more how do I describe it? They made it so he has a smaller box. It's wide, but it's like it's wide, but it's not tall. And they kind of split his parts up a little more. But he still has a pretty simple assembly. A new thing too, for the clown shoes. He's a new clown shoe catcher. So, like when the wind blows, it won't move the shoes around. I forgot to show that too. So, it keeps them still better than the little hooks. I like him. And for $200, I think he's well worth the price. For not only the amount of animation, the audio, the build quality, I think it's a pretty good animatronic for what it is. Though mine has some issues, I still think he is well worth the price. I still think he's a really good animatronic, and I still think that you guys should definitely give him a shot. It's not a traditional clown, so if you want a really cool, interesting character for your cemetery, here it is to kind of play in the fear of clowns. If you want a different clown for your clown theme to put in a dark and creepy area, here you go. You got kind of a more versatile clown prop. He's going in my cemetery with Zombie Clown. They're gonna go together, like they were a duo. But yeah, that is Teary the Clown. Overall, I highly recommend this item if you can get him. He is, I believe, completely out of stock right now, so definitely keep your eye on the Home Depot page. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.